welcome to my little mini series on Chelsea's greatest ever team, um, where I sort of look back on all the players that I've seen play for Chelsea and try to pick a best 11 and maybe substitutes for that 11. And the midfield is the hardest of the lot. And I want you to let me know what you think. You probably disagree, because I'll tell you what, I could even disagree with myself. Uh, if I, on a lot of, I've thought it through. This was hard. This was really, really hard. Going back to the 70s, when I think of the, I'll tell you what I've put. I'm looking at my notes and I apologise, but I'll tell you what I've gone with. Right, I've gone with Aaron Robin on one side of the pitch, because he could play either side. I've gone with Eden Hazard on the other side. And in the middle, I've just had two because I wanted two forwards in my team. So I've gone with Claude Makelele and I've gone with Frank Lampard. Frank Lampard obviously could get forward and score. Frank was top legend, no matter what happens as manager, top legend as a player. Makelele, I was tossing up because obviously little Kante is very like him, and not. But Makelele just had that sixth sense, and I've just give him the edge over Kante. Just give him the edge. And if you disagree, I can understand it. So yeah, Robin, Makelele, Hazard, and Frankie Lampard. When I look back, Ray Wilkins, captain during the 80s, and obviously, bless him, dead now. But what a player he was. Sadly, he lost him to Man United, but I don't blame him for going because we were absolutely pants at the time. Gus Poyet, I've got Di Matteo, Ruud Gullit. Now when Ruud Gullit come to the club, he was, I don't know how he was, 32, 33, and he had shot knees apparently. But what a player. I could so easily have put him in. He had everything. It was like watching a gazelle who was a powerhouse, just moving along. He just glided past players, brilliant in the air, and I absolutely loved Ruud Gullit. I've got people like Johnny Ollins. Johnny Ollins, what the team that I first started watching, he was immense. He would just run, and but not running for running's sake. He would take players with him off the ball. Very intelligent footballer. Couple of the best finishes I ever remember were John Hollins. YouTube him. Some player. Michael Ballack, of course. What a player. Easily could fit into any midfield. Joe Cole. Pat Nevin, Gianfranco Zola. How could I leave him out? He'd be my sub. He'd be on my subs bench. I tried to get him in. Dennis Wise. What a Mr. Chelsea. Dennis Wise. For years when we were still shite but getting better, Dennis. And I'll tell you what, I'll never ever forget. I think it was. I don't know if it was Nicky Butt or Paul Scholes, seeing Dennis Wise actually screw the skin on his leg. And I think he done the same to Neil Lennon, got him sent off. But Dennis Wise, but I loved him. What a lovely little footballer, real proper footballer. He could spot a pass, but the work he got through was unbelievable. And the other one, Hudson as well, Alan Hudson. I remember hearing a story. I think it was Kerry Dixon who told it about Hudson turning up on his second spell at Chelsea, smelling the booze, running the legs off of everyone in training, and going out and doing it on Saturday, being man of match, and back Monday morning smelling the booze. It was a different time, but what a player he was. And the other person that is on my subs bench, I was to-ing and fro-ing Michael Essien. I think Michael Essien in his pomp. That's what we lack now. A real powerhouse in midfield. Because Michael Essien could put the boot in, but what a player. The ground he covered, and he could finish a couple of his long range shots. Crikey, lucky the net was there. I was. Took the back out the shed, I reckon. But Michael Essien, great player. So Zola and Essien definitely on my. One player I will give a mention to as well. He played forward and midfield, but Canaville, Paul Canaville, because he played at a time when our own supporters were sending him envelopes with razor blades in, because he was black, and he played at a time where I could have cried. I was on the terraces when we played Watford, and John Barnes and Luther Blissett getting pelted with bananas, and I'm so pleased that those days are gone. Obviously, you still got the odd idiot, but but Paul Canaville played, and he always gave 110%, and I always think of him as a Chelsea legend, you know, because he's done a lot to highlight racism in the sport, and quite rightly so. So I just thought I'd give him a little mention. Oh, and Damien Duff as well. How did I not get Damien Duff in? He was only there for 3 years, 2003 to 2006. And played on the left wing where Robin was normally. They tossed and turned actually, but he was some player. But yeah, so that's it. Robin, Makalele, Frank Lampard, and Hazard are my midfield. Let me know what you think. I would imagine there's going to be a lot of differing views, and probably people I've forgot. And if I have, tell me.